Welcome back to Nick Lenz Comic Corner, classic lesson known classic. This is episode 2677 and Doubleshot 222571. With this one, we're discussing, well, basically Just Like America Bronze Age Volume 3 and Titans Fractured. Now, this omnibus collects issues. Just Like America 147 to 182. Super Team Family 11 to 14. DC Super Special number 27. DC Special Series number 6. DC Secret Side Supervillains 15. DC Comics Presents 1736. And Pages from Amazing World of DC Comics for 14. There's going to be some skipping here. A lot of it is due to the fact discussed already in all but two issues I'm skipping over here. We're collecting the Secret Side of Supervillains Volume 2. That being issues 166, 168. Of course, Super Family 15. 13 and 14 of Super Team Family. DC Special 27. DC Special Series number 6. Amazing World of DC Comics 14. Yes, and I'm also skipping over issues 174, 173, 174, purely because basically that's a two-parter featuring Black Lightning. I discussed already, I believe it was in the second trade for Black Lightning I discussed it. So in the case, now we're here discussing first everything in this omnibus. We're first discussing Super Team Family, number 11 and 12. Issue number 11 features a team between Flash and Supergirl with the Atom. Trapped on a living planet in peril. Now, who does the writing here? This book is written by Jerry Conway, art by Alan Lee Weiss and Joe Rupertson. It's mostly three heroes just taking on some criminals, per se. It's kind of weird that of all these characters, Supergirl, I believe the time this came out, don't think she had an ongoing series resumed just yet. I think she was regularly featured, I believe, in Adventure Comics at this point in time. Flash had an ongoing series. Atom did not. I believe he was also a featured Action. I think it was, yes. So, mostly fighting robots and the series Robot Master, per se. Which you found who it is. They get prisoner, they get freed. Yeah. Is the Weather Wizard? Not really. But then we move on to issue number 12. Excuse me. 12 features Green Lantern, Hawkman, and the Atom. This one is written by also basically Jericho, Alvo Jones, and Bill Turner. It's mostly put the three science-based heroes going to space and fighting aliens. I'm like, okay, that sounds interesting. That's kind of what this book is. Just to find aliens. But I'm going to say there. Then we have the two DC Comics institutions. Basically, now this I thought was really weird they featured them, but maybe they give an explanation for it. So then first we have issue 17. We have Superman team with Firestorm take on Crystal Frost, the original Killer Frost. Yes, I say the original because some are thinking, wait, wasn't the original Louise Lincoln? She was the second one, who debuted in Firestorm Volume 2, number 6, which I believe was also the same issue the original Firestorm, the original Killer Frost died. And the current one, Caitlin Snow, is the third one. Yeah, it's all about basically Superman being brainwashed. It's about Jerry Conway with Jorge Garcia, Luis Lopez, Steve Mitchell. Really fun. Yeah, it's basically, you read this, it's like, oh, a Superman guest starring the pages of Firestorm. I'm like, that's cool. I like it. As for issue number 36, this one I thought was, now Firestorm, I get the reason why, because I'll explain that soon. But in the case 36, this is really weird. We have basically Superman and Starman. This, of course, is the, I think the Steve Ditko character. They team up to take on Mongol. And this is by Paul Levitz and Jim Starlin. Like, that's interesting. Yeah, that's most of what this book is, but really fun. Thoroughly enjoys it. I enjoy it. Anyways, so now discussing issues 147 to 165, 169 to 172, and 175 to 182. 147 is another one of the teams between the Justice League and the JSA. Well, this time we have a team with a Legion of Superheroes. They got Dean Part, Mordrew. It's a good. It's just pure awesomeness. And this is one issue not written by Jerry Conway. This is by Martin Parisi and Paul Levitz. This is just before he returned the book, so we got a few fill-in issues where he returns. Yeah, and the whole thing with them, that lasted for, I think it was like 2 or 3 issues. Yeah, 2 issues. Then we had the return of the Privateer. Yep, the Privateer for a couple issues. Yes, Mark Shaw is brought back as a Privateer, also as Star Tar. Yeah, this quick 2-parter where he basically abandons the Manhunter identity for a couple issues and becomes a Privateer. Sort of a pseudo-recurring character in the book. These 2 also were his last appearances in comics for over 10 years. Most of the stars are like this criminal who they think is in jail. It also has the key to this 2-parter. And they find out the Starzar is actually Mark Shaw, who goes back to his old Manhunter persona and goes to jail. And let's see him get to Millennium. My only guess is the reason why that Steve Eckhart wrote this 2-part the way he did is because he just really doesn't want. He probably didn't feel as though Conway anything to the character, so that's probably the reason for it. And then Conway comes back to the book in issue 151 and stays on the book until 255. Yes, he stays on until the 7th and last issue of this run. He stays on for that freaking long. Yeah. In 151, it's take on Armis Vartan. Yes. No real Flush Gang here, surprisingly, but yeah, that's what we take on the Lucky League. In 152, is first appearance named Tanya. Yes, this mostly put is a Red Tornado issue. Yes, it's a Red Tornado issue where they reveal basic first appearance of Tanya, and it's mostly put exactly what it is. And they have Ultra. Yeah, he makes the first appearance in this issue. Yeah, he comes back not long after this. In issue 158. Where just like are tried for false imprisonment. And it turns out it was all employed by the lawyer. Which, this issue is noteworthy for the final appearance of the original Injustice League. Injustice Gang. Yes, 158 is the disbandment of them. Of course, he returned 167. Which, I'm not going to discuss that one. But, because it's already in. 169, 170 is the whole thing that we put on trial. For a couple issues. And then, of course, appears like a few more times after that. And that's it. His whole thing, by the way, George DeCussa this issue. Most of his whole thing is that if he hits Justice League, he briefly takes away their powers for reasons unexplained. In issue 154, Justice League versus Doc, it's take on Doc Destiny, which this issue reviews his backstory. In issue 155, it just take on Kathleen Cole. Okay. In 156, takes in the Fiend of Five Faces, who only appears like just a couple times. Like they've been in this issue and the following one, and that's it. Though there's an upcoming really big thing happening with Adam and Jean Lauren. I'll get to that. So 157 gets appearance by Supergirl. They continue taking on the Five Fiends, and in 158, Ultraman returns to take care of the Injustice Gang. Then 159. There's a bit of time traveling here. 5 Warriors for Forever, comprised of Black Pirate Enemy Ace, Jonah Hex, Miss Liberty, and Viking Prince. We also guest appearance by the Earth 2 version of Starsman Kids, Superman, and Wonder Woman Earth 2. And the villain is Lord of Time. Like, Jonah Hex in Justice League. Yeah, I really want to talk about this. Yeah, just to go back and meet Jonah Hex, which is awesome. Marvel did the same thing around the same period of time, so I guess why not? And then basically goes on for about a few issues, but it's awesome. I love this multi-parter. Then, of course, go to 161. This one's quite interesting. Now, Satana is asterisk, but she turns it down because of stuff related to her mother. This lasts for a couple issues, and they thought that basically wrap the whole thing and be able to join Justice League because apparently Wonder Woman want more females on the team, and Hawkgirl's on the team too. She runs at first in 161, and then the next issue, she's on the team. Yep, she's on the team. Yeah, and debut her brand new attire, which she would have rest of the 70s, up until Flashpoint. Then she would officially join the group with issue, I think it was 163. Excuse me. Yeah. I think it was 163. I think it was maybe 164, maybe. Arc 165, but yeah, this is a big arc. Yep. You guys know about Sadia? Who is Sadia, you might ask? Satana's mom. Yep. And then, well, by the end of 165, she is basically on the team. I think it was 166, I think it was. Yeah, she's officially on the roster. Mm-hmm. It's also whether Julius Schwartz, editing the book since the beginning, left the book. Probably he wasn't working on Batman at this point in time. I heard he was working on Batman in the late 60s, so Russ Aldridge took over, who's an artist. Okay. And skipping 165 to 168. Go straight 169, which is the whole thing with Ultra. So, two-part involving that. Let's go to 171. This one involves another team with the JSA, this two-parter. Like, it's a murder mystery. Someone killed Mr. Terrific! Who did it? Which one of you guys? And basically, the satellite is put on lockdown. By the way, also, this is just after the Golden Age Batman had just been murdered in Adventure Comics 4466, so Huntress is here. So, who is the murderer? Who killed Terry Sloan, the original Mr. Terrific? It was one of the old bad guys, Spirit King. Yep, the Spirit King. They say it's no JSA villain, but this was his debut appearance. Who appears in this two-parter, and then never seen again, aside from appearing in American for Justice League, he made his return in JSA, where he dies. Yes, and he gets away by possessing Jay Garrick. Yes. But you know what's something really interesting about this two-parter? Despite all the changes from when Crisis happened, this is one thing kept canon. Miss Terrific is still dead by the time the 90s roll around. Yeah, and as of currently, he's still dead. He's seen flashbacks. As a matter of fact, in the JSA book, when they do time travel with JSA, where you actually have Michael Holt meeting the original Mr. Terrific and telling him how much of a hero he is to him, and the fact that the reason why Michael Holt became the current Mr. Terrific was because he was inspired. He was told the story about him from the Spectre. But love this two-part. It's absolutely amazing. Check it out. But then move on to 175, where it's basically just another tornado issue where he quits and joins the team. Because they reveal the whole thing about his little backstory. He tells his family that, oh, he's a robot. And then we have Richard Mr. Doc Destiny 176. And 177 is basically a take on Despero. Yeah, and also return of Martian Manhunter. Yes, he returns to do some chess with him. Yeah, and sort of a loose callback to Justice League America #1, where Despero is here. Yeah, and when I read this issue originally, I'm like, and issues that come afterwards, like, this came with my popular fan theory related to Despero. Every time he shows up, Martian Manhunter has to be there. Because it was not long after this. He had to be there every time. But it was great to see the guy make a return here. He's only back here for a couple issues. And then he's gone. Because it's like DC bringing retirement. And then 179. This is interesting. Firestorm joins the Justice League. Yep, that's probably the reason why I included that issue for DC Universe DC Comics Presents. Yeah, Superman basically requests Firestorm team. Everybody was basically a bit reluctant. Biggest person who objected to him joining the Justice League was Green Arrow. And the reason is not because he's young or he's a guy. It's just because he doesn't have experience. That's most exactly what he has against him. Eventually warms up to him, but very interesting addition. My only guess is the reason why Conway added him to the team because he created the character. And Bendis did the same thing when he did Road Justice League. We added Nami to the team. So writers would bring in characters they created to join their roster. Now, some of you might be thinking, like, okay, when Echo would join the New Avengers, oh, Bendis created her. No, he didn't. That was Dave Mack created him. Excuse me. He did go Jessica Jones. And she did join the Avengers. Then 180, we had the final appearance of Sabrina Satin Sane, aka Sabrina Salters. Yeah, she went for this quick two-parter. She briefly brainwashes Firestorm for this quick two-parter, but great to have basically Firestorm join the roster. And then in 181, it's basically a Green Arrow team. We have a debut of Star Zar, the second one. Yeah, he's only here for one issue. And then here's something, 182, we have a backup story. We have Felix Faust appearing in story 2. And a Longa Man's got a feature in the book. Yes, he's got a feature in this issue. Where it's written by Paul Kupperberg. And art by Ronan Rodriguez. So Green Arrow quits team to resume his solo career. Like, okay, interesting. But love these issues. They are pure awesomeness at its finest. I'm gonna give this trade here a 10 out of 10. Now, before I talk about Teen Titans Fractured, I'm gonna be slowing down the review stuff when talking about Justice League America. It's not because basically of how many issues are left. It's because next omnibus doesn't collect until the next thing that I collect and trade at this point in time is not into issue 233. When it starts the Detroit era. So I will be doing like very slow amount of issues per se. I'm going to first start with doing 18, discussing probably up to issue 200. That's what we're going to do with that one. Alright, so next up we have is Titans Fractured, which collected, get this, Titans Volume 2, Issue 14, 1622, and that was it. You're thinking, wait a minute, what about issue 15, 22, 23? Not collected. For no reason. And here's the weird thing about these issues. Only 21, 22 is the actual part of Fractured. From 14 to 20 is all solo stories. There's no arc here. 14 is all about Cyborg. Yep. It's basically a spotlight on Cyborg for an issue. Yeah, and also Joe Winnick is gone from the team. Gone from the roster, excuse me. He's no longer the writer. And I'm going to reveal something interesting about these issues later. So the writer for issue 14 is a guy by the name of Eric Wallace. And this whole thing is all focused on him. He goes on a date in this issue, which I thought would be quite interesting. And then 15 is a Blackest Night prologue. Yes, focuses on Garth, written by J.T. Kroll. This issue mostly put its real in this issue that it was in this issue specifically that Dolphin and Garth's son are dead, and mostly put it's all about Alita, and of course he also kind of finds out Aquaman being dead, and the whole thing leads into Blackest Night, and also Blackest Night Titans #1. Issue 16. It's a Starfire issue by Chris Yost. Yep, Chris Yost. It was wonderful opening page of Batman and Starfire kissing. I'm like, wait, why is Bruce Wayne kissing Starfire? That's not Bruce Wayne in the costume. That's Dick Grayson, believe it or not. Yes, this was the period of time where he was Batman for about a couple years. Yes, he had become Batman full time at this point, and it's like, oh yeah, let's have one last kiss with Starfire. The whole thing with this issue is like her being in therapy and doing stuff related to post-crisis. The artist basically shows the fact that yes, Starfire is hot and basically like where the Titans compound is mostly put basically goes to space. The whole thing with this issue is leading into her joining the Justice League America under James Robinson. That's mostly put with this issue. It's a backdoor pilot to that. There's a flashback of her relationship with Dick Grayson. But mostly put leads her join Justice League. That's most what you know how I could tell? Because she's fled the space and she's going to the satellite. Well, this is Satellite 2 because the original was destroyed. Yeah, that's most what exactly what this issue is. And then issue 17, it's a Beast Boy issue. Written by Pat McConnum. Yeah, it focuses on him for the whole issue. And that's not much else to talk about here. 18 is a Raven issue. And this is basically written by Brian Q. Miller. You're thinking, wait, that name sounds familiar. Didn't he do the Smallville comics? He did. He also worked on Batgirl, the 70 Brown book. He also was, I believe, was the writer of the Convergence Batgirl miniseries. Yes. Yeah, just basically you have Ravens deal with stuff related to her family. And not much else per se. And then we have issue 19. Where this one's focused on Roy Harper. And this issue is a prologue into Cry for Justice. Where it's written by J.T. Kroll. And it's mostly put Roy with Leanne. And my friend Tivia would love reading this issue. Especially have Roy Harper take a Lady Vic, a Chuck Dixon character. Really fun fight here. And the ending, of course, leads into Cry for Justice. How do I know that? Because it goes off. And of course, you have Mia Dearden there. That's all I know takes place for Cry for Justice because this leads into his appearance in Cry for Justice, which somehow, and it's never fully explained here, or somehow the explosion in Star City that happened in Cry for Justice somehow also affected Roy Harper's house and killed Leanne. And there's been a rumor I've heard from Linkara where the person who ordered her death was Andrew Helfer. Don't know why. I don't know if this is true or not, but he's the one who basically probably ordered the kill of a child, which in my opinion, killing off a child is a stupid idea. Moving on from that, we actually have issue 20. Focus on Donna Troy for an issue. Okay. Troya. Written by Mike Johnson. Absolutely really fun issue. It's a day in the life of Donna Troy. And her taking on, by herself, taking on the Fearsome Five. Which is first is comprised of Shimmer, Monmouth, Jinx, and 2 new people. Yeah, I think with Shimmer and Monmouth, they're siblings. Yeah, but it's an absolute really good issue. It does not necessarily lead into anything per se. Unlike in the case of the Harper, which leads into Cry for Justice, and the Starfire leads into presumably the Justice League America book by James Robinson. That's what I can tell anyways. But this issue does not lead to anything at all. Raven doesn't either. 21-22, like I mentioned, is a two-parter Fractured, where its team comes together, written by the way, two-parter from J.T. Kroll, where the team comes together to take on some bad guy. Basically, Batman's an issue one last time. It's basically his kind of almost his swan song from the group. We also got spared by Black Canary using the book too. Basically, it's them versus Warp of the Brotherhood of Evil. That's mostly put exactly what this book is. Really fun two-parter. And then we lead into Titans 23, End of an Era, which the cover image is the original founding members of Teen Titans, which is Dick Grayson Robin, Wally West Kid Flash, Roy Harper Speedy, Donna Troy as Wonder Girl, and Garth as Aqualad. And this issue in particular, we have flashback stuff, but mostly from what I can tell anyways, it seems like it takes place because Batman's here. I'm guessing it takes place just after events of Cry for Justice, and probably a little bit Blackest Night. We also have something that was a big controversial in story. I'm sure the readers had no problem with this whole idea of this, but in story there was controversy. Because in the Titans Tower in San Francisco, Jeff Johns started this, where various late members of the Teen Titans had their own statue. And there were some people who didn't get their own statues. Jason Todd never got one. That's what became the member of Teen Titans. The original Hawk and Dove, they were Teen Titans, briefly, but yet they never got a statue. But yet, Tara got a statue despite the fact she's a psychopath. I'm sure readers probably didn't like the fact she got a statue. Everyone else did, which is fine. But, yeah, one of the big things in the story, and of course, it's a flashback that basically comes from the early days of Teen Titans here, where, yes, of Roy kissing Donna, and just the whole thing with their relationship. And we also see a flashback of Roy on heroin, which is probably not the classic Denny O'Neil New Adams story. And this book kind of in the way ends the original era, and then this book is now leading into Cry for Justice. Basically, this is just after Cry for Justice, and this leads into Rise of Arsenal. So that's most what this issue is. But it's a really good issue. I enjoyed it. And this is the end of an era for this book for good reason. Because, starting with the special, which we'll discuss another time, this group of Titans, the adult Marvel from George Perez Teen Titans, they're gone. Well, with the exception of Roy, he rejoins the book later. Because Deathstroke takes over the book with his own Titans. And this book under him lasts for about 15 issues. But here's the neat thing about this. If this is Marvel, gotta hit that restart button because we love the number one. Here, nope. Didn't do that. We actually kept numbering. And it all starts with the Titans Villains for Hire special. Yes, it comes a villains book for the next year and a half. And the book ends and leads and believe it or not, the sort of, in a way, follow-up to this book is concluded in Convergence Titans. I'll discuss it later, but yeah, that's going to be pretty much it, particular view. By the way, I'm going to give this Fractured book a 9 out of 10. I'm going to give the Black Isaiah issue same rating in this Titans issue. But I have roughly 2 trades left to discuss for Titans. One that has been released. The other one was canceled. I'll discuss later, but yeah. So, Dick Grayson's out of the book, well, mostly. He does briefly return in 2 stories after this one, but yeah. So it's almost like, okay, we have a really interesting story on Joe Winnick, and then he leaves after only being in the book for like 11 issues. Yeah, the book this book was launched as a replacement for The Outsiders. Yes, believe it or not, he basically moved over to Titans right after this for a reason I'll explain here. But yeah, so that's pretty much a particular view. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do not hit the dislike button. Next up is going to be Tushimonchi Moonlit Fantasy. Okay, bye.